First up at 7 this morning, a bill is moving forward that would require law enforcement to get a warrant to search license plate tracking data.
Also this hour, voters are casting ballots in Greeley on whether to move forward with a new development for housing and a new ice hockey arena.
Plus, new details are coming out of the man who was shot and killed by the Secret Service at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida.
We start this hour with a live look outside Horsetooth Reservoir on a Tuesday morning. Sunshine. Bright at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Very bright.
Beautiful sunrise all over the place, but we are going to see some warm temperatures here in the metro area today. Thanks for joining us at 7 o'clock. I'm Drew Carney.
And I'm Brianna Fernandez filling in for our Corey Rose, but I want to send things over to our Katie LaSalle because, Katie, we really have two different stories happening in our state.
Yes, good morning, you guys. It's 47 degrees in downtown Denver right now. Sun is rising, a beautiful, very mild morning. Unseasonable warmth across the plains and in the mountains, but high winds here in Denver. More snow on the way to Colorado's high country. Not just yet. This morning it's partly cloudy skies, dry conditions up over Winter Park, but we're bracing for several inches of fresh snow accumulation really starting late tonight through the day on Wednesday. This morning, getting you outside, we're in the upper 40s out to the airport. Castle Rock, Boulder sitting at 45 degrees, but the winds have already been strong off to the west this morning. You can see last recorded wind gust out near Loveland Pass over 40 miles per hour. Starting to see those gusty winds downsloping over portions of the foothills up near Genesee, Evergreen, breezy this morning, and the winds will continue to pick up steam across the Front Range and plains for today. So hold on to your hats. It's going to be partly cloudy skies, very warm for this time of the year. 11 o'clock getting to 65 degrees. Our record high temperature today in Denver is 71. That was set back in 1995. Low 70s expected out to the airport, across the plains, 40s, even some low 50s in the mountains. Here's that red flag warning. This will take effect at 10 a.m. Gustiest conditions until about 5 later on today, and then high winds as well into our northern mountains where we are bracing for good snow accumulation. But with the high winds, snow heavy at times, especially over our northern high country, could be seeing very limited visibility, tricky travel to be anticipated, especially if you're in and around the mountains as we get through tomorrow in the day. Brianna, though, how are things looking right now on this Tuesday at 7:02?
Yeah, we're busy all across the Denver metro area. So taking a live look of 270 between Quebec and Vasquez. So heading into I-70 and I-25, this is what you can expect for that commute. Right now, your overall drive along 270 is about 10 to 12 minutes. I do want to switch things over to our main maps and zoom into just one little trouble spot that I'm noticing. This is a water main break that happened yesterday. So just west of I-25, this is happening on the westbound lanes of Hamden between Colorado and Happy Canyon Road. So again, we are probably going to see the delays because it's close to I-25 on-ramp. Plus, you have crews there on scene, so just expect some slowdowns if you are taking Hamden. Now, 225 heading into I-70 between I-70 and I-25, you're looking at a 13-minute drive with slowdowns starting from Parker Road heading down south.
In news headlines this half hour, state lawmakers are moving ahead with a bill that would require officers get a warrant to search a license plate tracking database. Senate Bill 70 cleared the Senate Judiciary Committee just yesterday with a 5-2 vote after hours of testimony and debate. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry joins us live here. So Jaleesa, we know a lot of people showed up for this bill.
Yeah, Drew, law enforcement agencies are really pushing back on this bill, while supporters say it is long overdue. Now, this bill would limit access to license plate reader data like flock cameras. It would require a warrant, consent, or an emergency to review past location information. Supporters say this bill is about protecting privacy after some in the community voiced their concerns over how this data is collected, stored, and shared. Police and DA officials, on the other hand, worry it could slow down investigations since they rely on this technology to solve crimes and catch suspects fast.
The effect of this bill would allow criminals to take advantage of modern technology to plan, perpetrate, and hide criminal activity while requiring law enforcement to work in the Stone Ages.
Immigrant communities have seen those tools used beyond their original purpose. That history matters. When guardrails are weak, trust erodes.
Now, this bill now heads to the Appropriations Committee. It's important to point out that it has received bipartisan support. So far, they have 15 co-sponsors. Reporting live at the state capitol, Jaleesa Irizarry, 9 News.
Jaleesa, thank you so much. Denver police arrested a man who's accused of assaulting 2 women near Wash Park last month. 24-year-old Chance Lipscomb is in jail this morning on assault and attempted kidnapping charges. Police released this video of him earlier this month. The first assault happened on January 7th on South Grant Street, and a few blocks from Wash Park. Police say the second attack happened on January 27th, right at the intersection of East Ellsworth Avenue and South Grant Street.
A former Parks and Wildlife ranger will not go to jail after making false claims that he was stabbed during an attack while on the job. This happened last August. That's when Calum Heskett reported that someone stabbed him at Staunton State Park, and that set off a big search for a suspect that never existed. Yesterday, Heskett pleaded guilty to attempting to influence a public servant and false reporting of an emergency. A judge sentenced him to 3 years probation and ordered him to pay more than $16,000 in restitution. If he violates the terms of that deal, he could spend between 2 and 6 years in prison.
Attorneys for a man who spent 12 years in prison for a murder he says he didn't commit hopes to convince a judge he was a victim of an outrageous government misconduct. They want DNA records from CBI to help to prove it. Michael Clark was convicted of the 1994 shooting death of Marty Grisham. That conviction was based in part of a DNA analysis and testimony by Missy Woods, who is now accused of falsifying results and other issues during her decades-long career at CBI. Clark's conviction was overturned and he was freed last April. Prosecutors plan to take him to trial again. At a hearing Monday, his defense team asked for access to file in other cases where Woods did DNA testing. The judge did side with the defense, but she also gave CBI 2 weeks to ask her to reconsider that decision.
New details are coming out about the man who was shot and killed after showing up at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida this past weekend with a shotgun. 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin from North Carolina walked up to the property's secure perimeter early Sunday morning. Secret Service says he dropped a gas can and raised the shotgun at 2 agents before a local sheriff's deputy opened fire and killed him. According to his cousin, Martin worked as a golf course groundskeeper, rarely talked about politics, and actually seemed afraid of guns. He also says Martin came from a family of President Trump supporters. President Trump often spends his weekends at Mar-a-Lago, but this past weekend, he was at the White House. Investigators have not yet identified a motive.
President Donald Trump is warning more tariffs could be coming for any country that wants to, quote, play games following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling. On Friday, the High Court ruled that Trump went too far when he imposed sweeping tariffs under a national emergency law. Shortly after that, the president issued a sweeping 10% tariff, and then he hiked it to 15%. On Monday, he warned of more tariffs to come, and this is in response to the Supreme Court's decision. Business owners say the tariff instability makes it difficult for them to plan for price increases or manage cost.
It's not to my benefit, it's not to our customers' benefit to walk around and threaten these giant tariffs, because it creates fear in the market. And it's not good for us, it's not good for anybody.
The Supreme Court did not offer clear next steps on refunds, but a few U.S. Senate Democrats have introduced a bill that would require the government to refund that $175 billion in tariff revenue with interest.